Hi, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope you're having a great day. It is glorious here in New Hampshire. I realize I say that a lot, but there's always something good to be thankful for almost every day. Even the bad days, we can be thankful. So, what I want to do is talk to you about how I make calcium supplements using eggshells. And the type of calcium it's a calcium carbonate. Before I go on, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed or if you haven't and you like this video, please be sure to do the thumbs up and so that it can be a like. And if you have comments, please feel free to comment and also share with others. That being said, I'm going to continue sharing with you now. The first process I have done is I boiled my eggshells. And these are eggshells that I have broken open to make scrambled eggs or quiche or baked goods or whatever it is that I have done with these eggshells. But I save the shells. I rinse them under the water and I put them out to dry in a bowl, and then I put them in a basket until like such. And after that is done, after that fills up, I try to get to the next process. The next process is taking all these eggshells, pulling them apart, and putting them in a big pot of water to boil. And with this water, I use my filtered water. Personal preference, I'm just trying to get away from the city water. I smell chlorine in it, David doesn't, but everybody has their own senses that they're aware of. So that being said, what I do is I then take those out and I dried out the eggs on a towel till they were mostly dry. They're not all dry. And then my next step is, so the boiling is 20 minutes. Now I'm going to be putting them into the oven at 350 for 10 minutes. And what that's going to do, it's going to further dry the shells. It's not going to affect the nutrient value of these shells. And I realize a lot of people might think, come on, that's just garbage. Oh no, it's not. Eggshells are fabulous for your body. They're chickens. They can consume that as well. Side note, funny story. I went to make the new chicks some scrambled eggs. And my husband goes, isn't that like cannibalism? I said, no, it's not. So he's just kind of a funky guy. He just finds weird stuff. And he finds it weird that I'm giving the birds that are outside, I give them calcium supplements. My chickens will get calcium supplements as well. Will they get scrambled eggs here and there? From time to time. It doesn't hurt them to have their half scrambled eggs from what they produce. They're not producing right now, but they will. We're going to take good care of them so that they do, because there's a reason why I'm raising some chickens. So the oven is almost at temp. So I'm going to share a little bit why I do this. Hold on. So why I do this is I have for a number of years wanted to have calcium as an additional supplement, but I really don't like buying my supplements from the store, partly because of what I see as additives. If you see something that says proprietary blend, I think I mentioned it when I was making the turmeric capsules. Those are just things that I'm aware of, or I try to be aware of. Does that mean that calcium supplements that you can get are bad for you? I don't think so. I think as long as you're having a discussion with your doctor, following their recommendations, and you both agree on it, then I don't think there should be any worry, concern. Now, you may not want to go through the process of making your own. That's fine. That's a personal choice. Before I ever started doing this, all I did was I took my eggs and put them in our compost. I still do that. Even the water that I use to boil them, that will go out. Well, actually, instead of the compost now, because the garden is doing well, I will take that once it's cool and I will use it to water my plants because this is great for your plants. So that being said, here are some things that I will do. First of all, there are some side effects that could be potential. There's not a lot, but it's something to be aware of. Some people can end up with too much calcium in their body, which can result in kidney stone issues. All right, so you want to be aware. You're having a conversation with your physician, your urologist, any of them. I know that when my husband had some kidney stones, one of the things the doctor said is be very careful on how much calcium you're getting, and he addressed milk. So, I mean, there is calcium in milk, so that you want to be aware of too. But for those of us that need calcium, and I'll go into that in a minute, so the other reason that I am forcing myself, actually encouraging myself to make sure I take it every day versus haphazardly. So I just want to make a mention of that. Another concern, and it's not in my case, and I hesitate in saying this because I don't want people to use it as a diet aid. Please don't use this as a diet aid to lose weight. But it could potentially cause somebody to not have an appetite. That doesn't work for me because when I'm hungry, I eat, and I eat a very healthy meal when I do. But be very careful of that. If you're prone to wanting not to eat, please don't use this method. This is not an approved method to lose weight. That's just a warning because there are some people who have no appetite. So this is probably something you want to discuss with your physician to determine if this is where you should get your calcium. And because you can get your calcium with your milks and your alternate milks and all that. So why am I doing this? Well, a long time I started doing it, but it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't all the time. It was haphazardly, but I would put them in my shake, my smoothies and stuff like that. So what I want to share first is eggshells have a lot of calcium, mostly calcium. There was some place that I saw that it was 45% and another place 95%. So I would have to do a little bit more research to confirm really how much is in it. I'm not sure if we'll ever have the right answer. I think it needs to go through some real research. But science is not actually looking into this the way they are looking into pharmaceuticals. So will there be a test? Who knows? But anyways, there's a lot of calcium carbonate, and your doctors will agree with this. The rest that's in here is protein and nutrients that are in these shells, in this little shell. All you need is half a shell a day, which is about a teaspoon when it's all dried. But there's some other things in it that it was kind of interesting. I've never heard of this mineral. It's called strontium. It's strontium. I looked it up. It's a salt. Our bodies need salt. Now, I may not be prone to be pouring salt all over my food or purchasing pre-made foods that have a lot of salt, but our bodies still need the salt, so that's a good nutrient. Has fluoride, hello, pretty smile, magnesium, muscles, and selenium for your moods. Now, the best part about calcium, it does help with your bone health. Why am I going here? Well, and it helps with your bone strength and all that. I'm going here because many women, as they get to a certain age, I think it's too young, but we can start losing our bone mass, and that can start happening during menopause, perimenopause. Talk to your gynecologist. They will explain this to you, and they'll tell you how to be careful. I'm not a doctor, so I can't lead you individually in a setting like this how to do this, and it's not my job. That's not my place. But calcium is important for our diets, men and women. So that being said, let me see, there was some benefits. It'll help your thyroid if you're having thyroid issues. Again, those of you who are having thyroid issues, talk to your doctor. Mood, let's see, your skin. I mean, a lot of us as we get older, we want our skin to stay healthy and young, and it helps men too. Now, I thought, because I have looked at vitamin D levels, my alternate milks have more vitamin D than milk. So before I did this, I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if the calcium is the same way. It's not. Most of them are the same. I've got my milks. I've been drinking Planet Oat. So there's 25%, 350 milligrams, and the same is, it says 25% my husband's milk, but it says 300 milligrams, so score for oat milk. But there's iron in my alternate milk. There's no iron in regular milk, at least not the one he gets. His has 8% potassium. I do my oat milk does too. But things like riboflavin and vitamin B12 is in here, and the B vitamins are really good for mood as well. Now, but the vitamin D is 20% here and 15 on that one. So why do I share this? Because you need both vitamin D and calcium. You want good bone health, you got to have them both. Now, a lot of people say, well, I just don't drink milk. I cannot consume a lot of milk products. Some processed foods I can. I can handle butter and I can handle hard cheeses. I can't do the soft cheeses. So I end up enjoying goat milk, which is still a good source of calcium. It's just gentler on the stomach, and it's actually better for the moods. So milk can have a tendency to affect your mood, and I can go into that on how I know, because I have a daughter who was diagnosed having an allergy to milk. So there's a lot we learned when we discovered that. But back to the eggs. I'm doing this for my health. About 5 years ago, I had the DEXA scan done. I came back with osteopenia. Now, I'd already been making these supplements, but I hadn't been taking it routinely. Still, when I was diagnosed with osteopenia, the doctors say just make sure you're getting your calcium, your vitamin D, and I'm doing that. And you know, I'm dealing with some other stuff, so I'm stressed, I'm all that stuff. But last year, I had the DEXA screen done, thinking, easy peasy, right? I eat healthy, I do all this. But you know, things happened during the shutdown of the world, and I wasn't as active, and I put some weight on. I was stressed beyond any stress level I had ever encountered. But I'm not alone in that in this world, so I think a lot of people will understand that. But that being said, I realized when that test came back that something was wrong and I needed to be proactive. But I wasn't ready for it emotionally. I was still dealing with the sadness. And so I needed to pop out of that, and I did that. Hold on one second. Ooh, it looks good. I know, it's not like baking cookies, but they all dried up really quite nicely. So I realized like early this year I needed to do something, because it was like I wasn't getting out of this little hole. I wasn't getting out of it. And so finally I did. And what I did was I turned off social media. I only follow people who are positive and uplifting. And sometimes even on YouTube it's getting harder because of all that's going on in the world and the warnings and stuff. But we need to stay focused on being healthy. So to talk about eggshells. Now what happens is I'm going to take those eggshells and I'm going to put them in a coffee blender, the the coffee grinder. That's what I'm going to put in. Sorry, sometimes I get that. So I put it in a food grinder, and you can put it in a whatever kind of grinder, food processor, whatever, to grind it down if you don't have a coffee grinder. Okay, so it comes in, and I think you can see that it gets down there, but it's not very fine. So I took some out, and what I did was I put it in my pestle, and I just work it, and I get to the where it's just a nice fine dust. Now, I could use this for the chickens too. But what I do with this fine powder, is I can put in capsules. But if I don't want to do capsules, I can certainly do fruit smoothies. So I wanted to show you the difference, if I can. I'm trying to do this. My hands are washed, but okay. So here, I think you can see, please don't drop on my computer. You can see the little chunks in there more fully. Maybe not. But here, it's ground down a little bit finer. So, I hope you could see that. So this here, I will use in like a supplement form. And I'll use it in a smoothie. Or if I make in a stir fry, my husband's not interested in having, I'll do it that way. The reason I don't like doing all supplements, and I mean, I take a lot of supplements, and by the time I'm done, I'm kind of like, I don't want to take them anymore, and that's to be understood. But I had to get used to it when I got diagnosed with Lyme disease, because there's just a lot of things you have to do for your health, and that's what I do. But the reason I was bringing that, first of all, I was going to be making it, but I want to make a point about osteoporosis and our health in general. A lot of times it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. And in reality, we shouldn't have to worry about our health, but we should be being proactive on how to keep our bodies healthy. Now, I can share a lot of this stuff with you. I can, but it has to be up to you whether or not you're going to take action to make sure your bones are strong, make sure your bones are healthy, so that you can have strength in your muscles. And that is my one goal by the time I see my doctor next year, actually by my birthday this year, is to be back down at my weight, where I should be. My muscles are stronger and they're not hurting so much when I use the weights, but also to be really in good health condition. Now, one time when a couple doctors in the past, I had surgery, the doctor was going in, and I said, could you just kind of take a little of that extra out? He says, if you really want to lose the weight, you can make a decision, do that yourself. Same thing with my orthopedic doctor, when he said, he was not worried about telling me, Laura, you could stand to lose 20 pounds. And I'm like, what? My feelings were so hurt. I was crushed. And I went away and I was angry. But I realized my anger wasn't at him. It was at myself for allowing me to get that way. So after the last 2 years, guess what I did? I allowed myself to get out of where I need to be. I can't make you make a choice. I can't make myself make it. Well, yeah, I can make myself do it, but I have to choose to change. It's like there's some women who are doing great on their weight loss plans because they made a choice. You can't be healthy without choosing. You want to prevent these diseases that are out there. You think you're never going to get it. We're all prone. We're all prone to heart disease, diabetes, cancer. The list is endless. But what we can do is we can choose, make right choices in our, in how we consume our foods. So this is not a lecture, but you can talk to your doctor if you're dealing with certain things, most especially osteoporosis. Ask them about the eggshells. I know that when I was talking to my Lyme doctor about it, he was like, good for you. Because he said he found out that I had it too, and he says, make sure you take a calcium supplement. I said, I'm not going to do that. And I told him what I was doing. He was all for it. And then both doctors who told me that make sure you get vitamin D, but they look at my skin and they know I'm outside. I get a lot of vitamin D outside. Now, there's going to be a lot of negative people commenting about how horrible it is to get vitamin D from the sun. I would beg to argue with you, but I'm not going to argue on a feed because you know what? That's toxic, and I am just not going there. But I will have another video about what I have learned through a doctor's source that tells me how we can gain vitamin D exposure through the sun safely. But for right now, I wanted to focus on the calcium because, and the reason I brought up vitamin D is both calcium and vitamin D and weight-bearing exercises, lifting weights, walking. I can't run anymore. I used to run all the time when I was younger. Can't run now. Although maybe because my knees haven't been hurt and my hips haven't been hurt, maybe I could do it. Nah, not today. But just make some choices. Ask your doctor, well, what can I do? If you want to take the time to do this, and it doesn't take very long, we're talking about, say, rinsing the eggs when you get them, putting them in a bowl until you get an amount. Putting them in a pot of water and let them boil for 10-20 minutes. And then put them in the oven for 10 minutes. Do you know what you're doing? It's just something that you can do as you go along. If you don't want to do it in the summer, do it in the fall, do it in the winter. It's a proactive approach to your health and will not cost you anything else except the energy to use your oven. And then maybe a little elbow grease, but you know what? Working the pestle is not going to hurt you either. That's exercise. You need every little bit of exercise you can do is to better your health, and you should be aware of those exercises. So if you have osteoporosis, please talk to your doctor. Now I will do another video on many of the things I have learned about how to improve my osteoporosis. When I went back to my doctor who orders my DEXA scan, he asked me, he goes, do you want to do the DEXA this year? Because I had it done last year, and some doctors will do them every year. And he goes, I wasn't planning on ordering it unless you wanted it. And I said, no. I said, actually, I wasn't going to push you for it because even though it's been a year, I want to give it a little bit more time because as of February or something is when I started making some additional changes. And so I told him, I said, I really want to see if these additional changes make a difference so that I can come back with a totally clear slate of osteoporosis in my body. And why does this matter? I'm 61 years old. Do you think I want to stop living? I have grandchildren that I adore. So I want to be able to get to, and sometimes it's really hard to get up off the ground, but they're worth it. But I want to be around so I have the energy to take them places, to have the physical wherewithal to be able to do things with them. And I want to provide them memories of Grammy doing stuff with them. And, you know, our lives are our own, but there are people in our lives that matter, or we matter to them. So I hope that you would make a decision so that you could spend more time. It doesn't mean that as we get older, we will never be able to get down on the floor. Wait a minute, I said that wrong. Doesn't mean that it won't get worse, because both my husband and I, we get down there and it's like, who wants to help who up? It's hard when we're older. And I still don't feel like I'm old. I mean, my brain says, no, you're like 26. My body says, no, you're not. You need to wake up. So be positive and know that you can make changes for your health. You can't reverse some things in life, but there are some diseases that you, not through pharmaceuticals, not from your doctor, you can change. But you can do that with the team effort with your physician or whomever you choose to be your primary care or your alternate care, whatever you choose. And that's what I wish for you. Hopefully this was helpful. It's easy to do. I hope you take the time. If you don't take this, talk to your doctor about what kind of calcium supplement you need. And I hope you make a difference and that your health is just, if it doesn't need this kind of help, I'm so happy for you. And I hope and pray that it doesn't get worse. And for all others, hang in there. Life gets better. You just got to choose it. Have a great day. God bless.